Our film starts is during the time of the World War II. The movie begins with a child named Angus, a child who loves the sea but is afraid to go near it. He always imagines that if he goes into the water, he'll drown and no one will save him. He loves collecting snails like he used to do with his father. This time the boy finds a big rock of light weight, so he decides to keep it. His mother Anna comes and tells him to come home with her, so they go home together. Once home, he goes into the house's storage room to put the snails and the large rock there, and he begins to examine the rock and notices that it is flaking and has a strange color, and there is a sticky substance coming out of it that looks like an egg. His mother calls him, so he leaves the rock and gives it to her. The stone makes a slight movement. Then, the night comes and the wind is so strong that it opens the door of the storage room. Angus goes down to the room, but he finds that the egg is on the ground and it's broken. He begins to feel movements around him, and things keep falling. He continues to walk, trying to follow the noise and the things that keep breaking, until he finds a strange little creature hiding from him. Angus tries to slowly touch the creature, but it gets scared and tries to bite him. He runs to the kitchen, and he brings a knife and potatoes to put it for the creature so that it can eat it. And it begins to eat, and this time it allows him to touch it without biting him. Then Angus realizes that the creature has a wound in its back, so he runs to get the first aid kit to treat the wound. Then he leaves the little creature alone and goes back to his room so that his mother doesn't notice that he stayed too long in the storage room. The next day, they wake up to the sound of an army battalion present at the entrance of their house, and Captain Thomas knocks on their door and tells them that the battalion will stay in their garden for a certain time according to the orders of the command center, and that only the officers will sleep inside. Angus goes to his father's library and gets a dictionary. Then he goes to the storage room to check on the creature and finds out that it is eating his father's boots. He realizes that it's hungry, so he goes to the kitchen and takes the basket that has leftovers in it and gives it to the creature to eat. He decides to name the creature Cruso after the author of his father's favorite book, and he starts to look up the dictionary to find out what type of creatures it is, but he doesn't get any hits. After Cruso finishes eating, Angus tries to touch his skin, but he notices that it is very dry and needs water. He pours water into a basket and puts Cruso inside. He sees that the creature is now so happy and enjoying swimming in the water. Angus starts caring for and playing with Cruso. One day Angus's mom starts looking for him to tell him something about his father. She meets Louis, the new housekeeper, and asks him to start cleaning the warehouse because she suspects that her son is going to raise an animal there, even though he is supposed to keep animals away from the house. Louis starts to clean the storage room. Angus sees him throwing the water that Cruso was in, but Cruso is not in there. Angus asks Louis what he is doing in his father's warehouse. Louis tells him that he is cleaning it, following the orders of the mother. Angus leaves to search for Cruso everywhere until the night without finding it. Cruso has become bigger and it is inside the house. The battalion cook, whose name is Strunk, has a dog. It starts running after Cruso, but the dog is tied to the stove and it starts ruining the kitchen because it's pulling on the rope from running after the creature. Strunk has no other choice than locking his dog in the storage room. Then Angus hears his sister screaming and running out of the bathroom. He understands that Cruso is upstairs, so he acts fast and talks to his sister before she tells anyone, and he tells her the whole story. He explains everything to her and shows her that Cruso is not dangerous. But Angus is surprised of how Cruso could grow up so fast. Christy, his sister, promises that she won't tell anyone. The next day, Anna goes to give Louis her husband's old clothes. He thanks her and tells her that he will thank her husband when he comes back. But Anna tells him that her husband will not come back because he sank with his ship a year ago, and that his son does not know until now the truth about his father's death. Then she tells him that the bathroom needs to be fixed. Louis goes out in order to fix it, and he finds Angus and Christy inside the bathroom. They try to prevent Louis from entering, but they can't stop him, and he sees Cruso, and after calming down, he tells them that it looks like a seahorse and that it is a rare mythical animal, and that no one has actually seen it except a few, and that the legends say that it is male and female at the same time, and that when it grows up it lays eggs once but then it dies. All three stay long inside the bathroom until Anna starts looking for them. They beg Louis not to tell their mother about the creature, and he agrees. Angus and Christy tell their mother that they are helping Louis to fix the pipes in the bathroom. The two manage to hide Cruso from their mother. And while the army is feasting in the house, Angus comes out of the bathroom and leaves the door open behind him. Cruso comes out of the bathroom. The dog sees it and starts running after it all around the house, breaking everything in its way. The two animals go down to the first floor next to the dining room in which Anna and the officers of the battalion are gathered. They go in. Cruzo passes under the table without anyone noticing it. On the other hand, the dog runs on the table and spoils the feast. Cruzo goes out of the house and succeeds in running away from the dog and dives into the fountain that is full of fish, and it continues to eat from it until the sun rises, and Louis notices that the animal's size has become much bigger than the last time. They find themselves obliged to put it in a truck to take it to the closest lake. They free him because it is impossible to hide it in the house. After Angus comes back home, he finds out that his mother asked Captain Thomas to train him with the army and the battalion so that he can work in whatever is available, and Angus stays busy training and can't go to see Cruzo, who is still waiting for him at the lake. The kid finally manages to escape from Thomas and goes to the lake to see Cruzo. The boy sits and waits, but Cruzo doesn't show up, so he decides to take the boat and goes to the middle of the lake. He finally finds Cruzo behind him, but his size is very big and huge because of the amount of food he has been eating while in the lake. Cruzo wants to play with Angus like they used to do. The boy gets on Cruzo's back, who starts to walk him around in the water. Angus is terrified because he is afraid of the water, but he gets used to it and starts enjoying it. Then he realizes that the lake has been closed by the army with a big net. After they finish playing, Cruzo takes Angus back to the beach, and before it goes under the water, Strunk notices it. Angus goes back to his house and tells Louis and Christy what happened, and he's so happy. The next day, Captain Thomas takes them all to show them the army's work on the hill and the battalion's plan to attack the Germans if these came up close to the lake area, and he shows them the power of the guns. Then they decide to make a live experiment by hitting the missiles on the lake in which Cruzo's was. Angus starts going crazy when he knew that they were going to attack the lake, and he tries to stop them, but he fails and the missiles hit the water. And because Angus got too close to the missiles and could have been injured, his mother punishes him and locks him in the house. And there is a resident of the town who was sure he saw Cruzo once. He keeps an eye on the lake. He keeps watching and waiting with a photographer to take a picture when Cruzo appears again, but he doesn't succeed in photographing him and resorts to falsifying the picture because he is chasing notoriety. The photo gets into the papers, and Strunk sees it and confirms to his colleague Walker that he has seen it too. Walker and Strunk decide to hunt the creature down so that they will be known as the monster's killers. At the same time, Angus runs away from the house to check on Cruzo after the missiles attack. Louis comes with him. They reach the shore of the lake. Angus keeps calling him until Cruzo comes out and tries to attack them, but Louis saves Angus and explains to him that after what happened, Cruzo has become a wild animal and will attack anyone because he thinks they are here to hurt him. Angus continues to be annoyed at having lost his friend and returns home, but he hears the sound of Strunk's dog and realizes that someone is looking for Cruzo to hunt it, and he's right. Walker and Strunk are looking for Cruzo to kill it. They finally find it, but Cruzo attacks them, so they inform the center that they are attacked in the lake and they want all the missiles to hit the animal in order to save them. But the boat they are in gets knocked over near the shore. Cruzo, mad with rage, tries to devour Strunk. After Walker swims to shore and escapes in fear, but Angus tries to stop him from killing the man, and he continues to enter the water until he drowns. Cruzo throws Strunk away and goes down to save Angus from drowning and hands him over to Louis, who was able to revive him. Then Thomas and Anna come and see the seahorse in front of them, so the mother realizes that her son wasn't lying or imagining things. Then suddenly missiles are fired at the lake based on the notice of the boat before it got overturned. Angus tries to help Cruzo run away from the missiles. He climbs on top of him to guide him to the path that will take him out of the lake and away from the range of the strikes. And because the weather is stormy and it's raining a lot, Thomas cannot cancel the orders by radio, and the observing soldiers say that they see something similar to the periscope of a submarine, and they think that it is a German submarine that's coming to attack them, but in reality it was Cruzo's head. The missile strikes continue on Cruzo and Angus. The net is raised more to prevent the so-called submarine from approaching. Thomas and Anna are in a boat behind Angus to save him if he drowns. Angus decides to leave Cruzo to let him hide underwater far from the blows. The boy goes to join his mother on the boat. Then Cruzo goes underwater and jumps higher than the net and descends on it to the point that it gets unlatched from the tower it was tied to. Then Cruzo flees to the sea and he is finally free. Angus looks at Cruzo for the last time as he floats in the sea at the time of the sunrise, as if he was saying goodbye to his only friend.